All right, in this video, we're going to show how to properly set up tokens in Roll20. But what I mean by properly is that way when you drag the token from the character sheet, from the characters into any map, they're already set up so you don't have to reset them up. So step one, we're going to create a character sheet. So we're going to come over here under characters, and we're going to say add character and open this up. Now, if you want to use the character sheet that Roll20 provides you, you can. If you are going to use it, this would be a great time to go in and set up at least the basics of, your basic stats and skills and hit points and initiative and all that. If you're not going to use it, then we can skip that step. We're going to click on, we're not going to do that for this video, but for here, we're going to click on this, then we're going to edit this. The avatar is just basically kind of the sheet that they would see. So for here, we're just going to set up this character here. And what we want to do is we want to put it in all players' journals. That means that all players, when they come to the journal tab here, they'll see under characters, they'll see that character sheet. For can be edited and controlled by, we want to pick the specific player. You can pick all players, and that will let all players have control over this token. They can change the health, they can move them. The bad thing about doing this is if you're using dynamic lighting, then when the players are looking at the map, anything that this character's token can see and lights up, they're going to see it as well. It's just kind of a preference. If you want the players to only be able to see what their specific character or token can see, then you want to make sure to just select that token or that player and give them control and no one else. That's my preference. And then from here, we're gonna save it. Now you might want to say, well, I got a token, I want to link it. We don't want to link it yet. If we link it at this point, if you're only linking it to an image. So what we're going to do is say save changes. And, we have this character sheet here. And then I'm just going to minimize that for now. So now what we want to do is move on to step 2, which is add the token and set its properties. So we're going to come in here, we're going to find the artwork that we want. You can drag it or drop it from here. You can drag it or drop it from your computer, however you want to put the art in to Roll20. So now we have the token. So we're going to set the size of the token. If it's if they're a large creature, we'll make them big, but we want to make their token representative of the size they are. One tip, if you say they have a gnome or something that's a small or tiny creature, you can come in here under advanced and say set dimensions. And instead of saying 70 by 70, you can say they are 50 by 50. Makes them slightly smaller. Set dimensions 25 by 25 is going to be, or I guess 35 is half of 70. So if they're half the size, they'll be that. Now when Roll20 will always snap it to the upper left-hand corners, but their token will be small. For this, we're going to make it a regular token. So now we're going to go into the properties. The first important thing that we want to set is this setting here. What this is going to do is it's going to link this character to the journal tab over here. We'll click journal, and it's going to link this token to the character sheet over here. I know I didn't select the right one, but you get the picture. So we're going to select the drop down, and this is Codar or Codier, whatever the name is. You can change the name in the other sheet if you you can check if you want to show the nameplate or not. Now we're going to select, we're going to link up these stats to the character sheet. If you've already gone in and you're using the Roll20 character sheet and you've set those values up, doing this, we're going to set the first bar to HP as the typical standard. You can set them up however you want, but the most common setup is bar 1 is going to be HP. So we're going to set the bar 1 to HP. Now, because I didn't set the character sheet settings, nothing comes over. If you did build that character sheet, um, the health points will come over automatically. All right, now we're going to say bar 2. We can set that to AC if we want. We can, we can set it to spell slots. We can, whatever you want to set it to. I'm going to go ahead and leave it blank for now. Well, actually, let's just set it to AC and say they have an AC of 16. All right, we're going to come over here under advanced settings. We're going to set these settings, and most of these are personal preferences. I like to show bar 1 that shows their health bar, but it doesn't show the numbers because I keep it compact and I set it to bottom overlapping. Default I think is above, but I like it on the bottom, overlapping the very bottom of the token, so it doesn't necessarily block very much of the artwork. And I keep it compact, so it's just a small little bar. It doesn't show any numbers. It's just kind of a visual representation of their health. Here we're going to set up their um, if we're using dynamic lighting, we're going to set up their lighting settings. So this character is an elf. They have 60 feet, 60 feet of vision. And I'm just going to put 1 foot of bright. So this is the light radius and where dim light starts. So because they're night vision on a dark map, it's going to be, they have dark vision of 60 feet, but it's all dim. So I'm just going to put 1. You can also put 0 if you want, putting 1. The same thing. So we're also going to mark that they have sight. Alrighty, and if you want to use the dynamic lighting settings, you would go ahead and set the new dynamic lighting settings. You'd set them up here. I'm not going to use that yet because it's still kind of in development and it's not quite fleshed out yet. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to save the changes here. So now we have this token. All the settings are set up. It's the way we like it. We can test it out if we want and make sure it's working. So now that we've added the token and set the properties, step 3 is we're going to link this token to the character sheet. So we're going to bring this character sheet back up here, click on edit, make sure this token is selected and say you select a token. So now we have the token set up and the character sheet set up, linked to the token. We can test it out. We're going to go over here to, we got a new map and we're going to drop our character in there. So we're going to just drop in Kodar here. So see his dynamic lighting settings are up, his health is up and everything, and it's all set up. And you don't have to do anything. The player can drag their own character straight from over here and they see what they see. So we can test what does he see. You can hit Control L and that will test it. So that character is all set up. Now, one thing we want to do is we want to make sure, so say we make a change to some of these settings. Say we decide that, what, bar 3, I want to set it to the speed, so that way we know what the speed of that character is, or, some other stat. So if you have it set up in the character sheet to pull over, but we're just going to say 30 feet. I'm only putting it in here because if you put both values, then it's going to show a bar, and we don't want that. So she has a 30 feet, or this character has a 30 feet speed, and we're going to put that in there. So what's going to happen is I made that change, but then if I go and I re-drag them out, that 30-foot speed didn't come over. So what I'm going to have to do to update that is come back in here. Once you make any changes to this token, pull up their character sheet, edit it, make sure the token's selected. We're going to remove the current token and we're going to save it. Because what this does is it saves whatever this token in here, it makes a copy of this token and all the properties and saves it on this character sheet. So these two, so this token is different. It makes a copy of it. So whatever state it's in. So any changes you make to it, you have to unlink it and relink it back up. So we're going to say save changes. So now if we drag another one out to another map, that's all set up the way it should be. So that's how you set up the player characters. Now we can set up NPCs or monsters, they're going to follow the same basic 3 steps, but there's a couple differences in them. So first thing we're going to do is step 1, create a character sheet for it. So we're going to say add character. We'll come in here and we'll say edit, and then we're going to give it a different name because this we're going to make a hobgoblin, right? And we don't want to put it in the player characters journals probably because they are not going to, you don't want them to see that, oh, we're going to fight hobgoblins. And we don't want it to be edited and controlled by anybody. So you can set an avatar in here. It's not really needed because since this is the character sheet, you're probably not going to be showing this to the characters. You're probably not going to be showing them this sheet because then it will show them the character sheet and all the stats if you set them up. So we're going to say save. For a monster, we can come over here to the character sheet. We're going to choose NPC. We give it a name. Now, we can set this up or not. I personally like to set a few things up. I like to give the Hobgoblin the armor class. I like to set their hit points and their formula. This allows me to use a macro to randomly generate it. We won't go into that. I also like to set their dex. What is their dex? Hobgoblin has 2 dex or 12 dex, so it's a +1. So I set the dex up, and the reason I do that is because it makes it a lot easier to roll initiative. You can go through and fill out all this. You can add all their abilities. The more detailed it is, the easier, the more integrated it is. But for now, we're going to do the bare minimum for this character for now. So we've got the character sheet set up. All right, and I'm going to minimize that. And then step 2 is we're going to add the token properties. So we're going to come in, we're going to find some art for a hobgoblin. I already got something in here. You can find your own tokens, same as your player tokens. So I have something, I'm just going to use this generic picture. It's not the best token, but it'll work for this example. Right, so we're going to set the properties up. Same steps we're going to set. First thing we're going to do is set this to represent the character, because all those values that we set up for that character sheet for the hobgoblin, if you built it out, all those, the AC, the hit points, all that's gonna link up. So we're gonna select hobgoblin, and it looks like I have 2 of them. I don't know which one. I'm gonna delete this one because it has a picture in there, so it's not that one. So we're gonna set it up, save changes, edit it, hobgoblin. So we linked it to this hobgoblin character that we just made. And we can check show nameplate if we want to show the nameplate. I don't like to. I don't like to show the name of my monster to my players most of the time. So over here, this is where it's going to be a little bit different. So if we want to pull the hit points, so say we hit HP, this is the same as the character. Because the hit points were there, we're going to pull it over. You do need to make sure it's 11 out of 11, so he has current hit points. If we want the AC here, it puts 11 as the AC, which I believe is wrong. Character sheet, armor class. I might have to just well, you can set the armor class manually. It's 18. If you want to have that as a token, there might be something going on. Roll20, I don't know. It should set up that properly based on the character sheet, but it's not. So, but what we want to do here, once we have these values in, you can link them to pull the values over from the monster sheet. But it's important that we change this back to none. I'll show you why. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to set these settings. For monsters, we don't want to set any of these light settings. It's just going to slow the game down. But I leave bar 1 as the players can see it, and bottom overlapping and compact, same as I do my players. So we're going to save the changes. So now we have our token for the hobgoblin. And we're going to do step 3, which is link the token. We're going to edit, make sure the hobgoblin is selected, select the token, and save. Now, these token properties, remember we did not unlink these. So what happens when you don't unlink them is, say I'm going to fight a couple hobgoblins. I'm going to have 3 of them come out. So they all pull over, all their health and stats pull over because we saved the token. So say this one gets attacked and it takes 5 damage. Well, these ones also take 5 damage because what happened is we're linking this character. It represents, this is linked to the value that's on this character sheet. So whatever's in this bar 1 is linked directly to that character sheet. So it's going to change all of them together. So what we want to do is we want to come in here and we want to say none. We want to leave that as blank, save the changes. I don't remember which one I did it to. Yep, none, save the changes. I'm going to delete these ones. Now I made a change to that character sheet, so I have to relink it, edit, remove that one, select token, that's the new one, and save the changes. So now, if my characters are going to fight 3 hobgoblins, I can pull out 3 hobgoblins, put them up on the map, and same scenario, this one takes 5 damage. His health went down, these ones are still at 11. So on the NPC, it is very important to make sure that these values here are not linked to the character sheet. So it says none, and you just manually enter them in here. So, and that's your characters in a nutshell. I do have an NPC that is fully built out just to show you the difference in the character sheet. Alt double click will pull up the character sheet. So this one's all filled out versus our hobgoblin character sheet, bare minimum. The reason I add the dex is if I want to roll initiative, it adds it to the initiative automatically. This character is fully built out. It even shows it in the screen. This creature is fully built out, so if I want to bite my character, it automatically rolls over here, the attack and the damage for that creature. So that's NPCs and tokens set up in a nutshell. So, we can, come and just show a little more. If we have a little ambush going on here, and they can see them. So these characters are properly set up. If this character, the other thing to show you real quick is I have this other character who it's linked up to here. So I'm going to pull up their character sheet. I'm going to edit and make this a different player, right? So this character is controlled. I got 2 accounts here, my DM account and my player account that I use kind of for testing. So this one is the player and this is someone else, right? So I'm going to come over here and I can see this character token in here. So say I move out of the room, I can still see this character and I can control this character because it was set up that way. So if I come and set this character sheet, edit, take me off of there and say that's DM, it's a DM character, another player in your party, so it's not the same account. I come over here, I might have to, when I update it here. So see, I don't see that light anymore because if I go into this room by myself, I don't see what's going on in that room up there for dynamic lighting. If you have advanced fog of war, I'd still see the room, but I wouldn't see the character in there. Similarly, I can't control that character and move them around and change their settings. I can only see mine. So if I'm a rogue and I'm going to scout ahead into a new room, I'm all by myself, and that character will not see my character either. So I kind of like the dynamic lighting. That's the reason that you want to make sure that you don't just set all your tokens to all players. That's a preference. It's not recorded. So that is it for how to set them up. Um, Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.